Samsung could be building a sensor for Apple. The leak comes from the dependable Jukanlosreve on X. According to the report, Samsung is already developing a high-resolution camera sensor, possibly serving as the main shooter on a next phone. Samsung is working on a 3-layer stacked image sensor for Apple, while simultaneously developing a 500 megapixels sensor for its own Galaxy devices. Of course, there's always the Apple iPhone, which is also referenced in Jukanlosreve X post. Samsung is currently developing a 3-layer stacked image sensor in a PDTR logic configuration for Apple, states the post. If accurate, this would mean Apple might quit utilizing Sony lenses in favor of Samsung, which could mean Samsung beats itself. This sensor is more advanced than Sony's existing Exmor RS, and I believe it cannot be ruled out as a potential candidate for the main sensor, Jukanlosreve stated, but we'll have to wait and see. Next, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is coming, even if we are still several months away from seeing one in action. The iPhone 16 Pro Max might be one of the best phones you can purchase right now, but the iPhone 17 Pro Max should easily knock it from its perch with different upgrades and improvements. We still don't know much about the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but we've already heard various speculations indicating that huge things could come. If those speculations are to be believed, 2025 might also witness the first major iPhone redesign since 2019 iPhone 11, with advancements to the phone's display and durability. Sadly, it's difficult to sift the truth from the rubbish at this early stage. Hopefully that'll change as the months pass by, and we approach closer to the official launch day of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Until then, here's everything we've heard about the iPhone 17 Pro Max so far. Price may be a sticky matter for the iPhone 17 Pro Max, with one analyst forecasting that the entire iPhone 17 lineup could become more expensive, after the iPhone 16 reportedly dodged a price raise by the skin of its teeth. While other iPhone models haven't had any big price hikes for years, the Pro Max model has. Apple nixed the 128 gigs iPhone 15 Pro Max, instead settling for 256 gigs of base storage. While the 256 gigs 15 Pro Max was the same price as the 256 gigs iPhone 14 Pro Max, it still meant the price of entry was $100 greater that year, a trend that Apple repeated with the iPhone 16 Pro Max. While we don't know whether a price raise will happen or whether it will influence the iPhone 17 Pro Max, we shouldn't be surprised if the phone does cost more than the $1,199 iPhone 16 Pro Max price tag. While we don't know exactly when Apple will release the iPhone 17 Pro Max, it normally keeps to the same release timetable yearly, only deviating in 2020 during the COVID-19 epidemic. Typically, Apple introduces new iPhones around the first or second week of September, with pre-orders commencing later that week. Release day normally follows a week later. While we don't know if Apple will follow to this plan again, precedent tells us that we should predict the iPhone 17 Pro Max release date to arrive somewhere around the end of September 2025. We're not expecting any huge changes with the iPhone 17 Pro Max's display, but that's not to say we may not see some things alter with the following iteration. One report indicates that the phone could arrive with a narrower dynamic island, thanks to the inclusion of new, slimmer components. Leaker Instant Digital has also claimed that the iPhone 17 series display panel would be constructed with a super hard anti-reflective layer that will make it more scratch resistant than you think. However, whether this implies you can skip the screen protector isn't obvious right now. As for the design of the iPhone 17 Pro Max, things are a little hazy. Rumors say that Apple may be changing the rear of the phone this year, with one set of renderings suggesting that we may see a two-tone design similar to the one featured on Google's Pixel 9. It's also speculated that the camera module could migrate from the left-hand side of the phone and into the middle due to this modification. There's been considerable dispute among leakers as to whether the iPhone 17 Pro Max would have a titanium frame this year. But last we heard, it was still happening, which makes sense. It would be strange for Apple to make such a huge fuss about titanium only to scrap it 2 years later. Apple's A-series CPUs are among the best mobile chips around, and each version has given much higher performance than its predecessor. We expect that tendency to continue with the A19 Pro chipset, which should appear on iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max later in the year. While there had been reports that Apple could move to a 2nm technology, which would make the A19 Pro even smaller than the 3nm A18 Pro, that shift apparently won't happen until the debut of the iPhone 18 at the earliest. This implies we'll be seeing 3nm devices until at least 2026, probably longer, depending on how development proceeds. Instead, A19 series chips are now scheduled to be built utilizing an enhanced version of TSMC 3nm technology. This should bring gains to performance and energy efficiency relative to the A18 series, although not to the same extent as adopting a 2nm technology would. However, any gain to energy efficiency could mean an even better battery than we've already witnessed on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Finally, Jeff Pugh and Ming-Chi Kuo both anticipate that Apple could incorporate 12 gigs of RAM in the iPhone 17 Pro Max. That's a 50% improvement compared to the iPhone 16 series, and would presumably be so that Apple can deliver even more on-device AI in future incarnations of Apple Intelligence. Those of you tired of Apple skimping on the camera resolution will be extremely thrilled with iPhone 17 Pro Max speculations so far. According to one leaker, Apple may boost the resolution of the telephoto lens to 48 megapixels in 2025, meaning we could see a triple of 48 megapixels lenses on the phone for the first time. The front camera may also be due to get a similar boost, but the resolution may top out at 24 megapixels, according to analyst Ming-Chi Kuo. The information believes that we may witness the first variable aperture lens on an iPhone, but it's unclear how much control consumers will have over the aperture and the resulting depth of field. Rumors also claim that Apple could delete the square camera module seen on iPhones since the launching of the iPhone 11. According to some leakers, this may lead to Apple introducing a horizontal camera bar similar to the Pixel 9 Pro, with some even displaying renders of what this could look like. There isn't much detail on this right now, though, and it's unclear how spatial video would work if the primary and ultra-wide lenses aren't stacked vertically. We haven't heard much about the iPhone 17 Pro Max's battery right now, but if the chip's rumored efficiency enhancements prove to be genuine, then we should see the battery life last even longer. Considering the iPhone 16 Pro Max lasted over 17.5 hours in our testing, that would be a rather stunning sight to behold. We've also heard reports that Apple could make iPhone 17 batteries easier to remove, thanks to a new form of glue. It's likely that this is the same ionic liquid battery adhesive used on iPhone 17, which allows repair personnel to remove the battery with a few volts of electricity. That makes it a lot easier to remove than prior adhesive strips, which were cumbersome and often required solvents to properly remove. Rumor has claimed that Apple may be creating its own batteries, preparing to launch them on iPhone 17 set. While we don't know many information regarding this development, it's reported that Apple hopes to give significantly improved performance compared to the existing one. Which you'd expect because the last thing we want is for battery life to go worse, but that's still a fantastic thing if Apple can pull it off. It's still very early in the iPhone 17 Pro Max rumor cycle, so there's a heck of a lot we still don't know about the phone. That said, what we've heard so far is really intriguing. Upping the resolution of the telephoto lens is surely a nice thing, even if the tetraprism zoom is stuck at 5x magnification for another year. Likewise, the ability to remove batteries more readily will be invaluable should you ever need to take advantage of it. I'm unsure about the prospective design modifications, and I'd be astonished if Apple dropped the recognized square-shaped camera configuration. However, I like the Pixel design, and it would be interesting to see how Apple can continue making their phones stand out. Several months remain before the iPhone 17 series is slated to arrive, though, so things may change between now and, well, then. We'll have to remain patient and see what future leaks and speculations have in store. So, for more information, visit our channel and see you in the next one. Peace out.